Hello, everyone. Today we'll talk about the next category in Muktzah, which is utensils or items that are specifically designated or designed for work or labor that is not allowed in Shabbat, like writing or digging, or etc. And there's 39 categories, but this is just specifically about those utensils that are used for those kinds of activities. So, Kelim are objects normally used for activities that are prohibited on Shabbat. Some examples are hammers, scissors, needles, pliers, and phone books, which don't exist anymore, even not in Israel, since they are designed for things that are prohibited on Shabbat. They are muktzeh. Nevertheless, since they can be used for permissible activities as well, one does not put them completely out of their mind over Shabbat. Therefore, the sages established an intermediate category for such items. On the one hand, they are muktzeh, and one may not move them even if they were left in a place where they are likely to be damaged or stolen. On the other hand, one may move them in two cases, letzorach gufam, which means for their sake, to keep them, out of the sun or out of public domain, or not, connected to something that way people can steal them, or letzorach mekomam, for their space. I need the space right now on the table, and I don't want to have these muktzah things on the table. So, letzorach gufo, and plural is gufam, means using the kli shemachto leisur to do something permissible, like using a hammer to crack nuts, scissors to open a milk bag, a needle to remove a thorn, or also tweezers, pliers to open and shut a faucet whose handle is missing, and a telephone book to look up an address or to sit on, like there was for my bris, which I don't remember obviously. If the same goal can be attained without using the kli shemachto leisur, it should not be used. So we talked specifically about nuts, that someone can use a rock, which is muktzeh mechmad gufo, and instead of something that is melachto leisur, like a hammer. Letzorach mekomo, and plural mekomam, means moving the kli shemachto leisur to use the space it occupies. Thus, if such an object was left on the table one wishes to eat at, the bed he wishes to lie in, or a chair he wishes to sit upon, he may move it. Similarly, if such an item was left on the floor in a spot where people will likely trip over it, one may move it. If the door of a washing machine was left open and is getting in the way, it may be closed. If a kli shemachto leisur makes it difficult to open or close a window, it may be moved. So if there's something stuck on the windowsill or by the door. Once the kli shemachto leisur has been picked up, whether letzorach gufo or letzorach mekomo, one may move it to where it will be safe afterwards. Other examples of kelim shemachto leisur are pens, pencils, pencil sharpeners, paint brushes, lined paper, accounting forms, sandpaper, carbon paper, candles, matches, nails, and cigarettes. And so he's not telling you if you're allowed to smoke or not. He's just saying that because we have to use fire for it, and then that's why it's kelim shemachto leisur. Some kelim shemachto leisur, such as an artist's knives or a diamond cutter's tools, are considered muktzeh mechamat chesron kis, since their owners are careful not to use them for other purposes. We also mentioned the knife used for slaughtering or for circumcision. The laws pertaining to them are stricter. They may not be moved, even letzorach gufam or letzorach mekomam, as we saw yesterday. Electrical appliances such as fans, washing machines, refrigerators, and other appliances with no incandescent filament are considered kelim shemachto leisur. Electrical appliances with a heating element or incandescent filament, such as light bulbs, heaters, radiators, and warming trays that were during the Ben Hashmashot on Friday. So what we said, the quasi state between the sunset and the stars coming out, um, are considered muktzeh chamat gufam and may not be moved during Shabbat, even letoch gufam or letoch mekomam. In contrast, if they were off throughout Ben Hashmashot, they are considered kelim shemachtam leisur and may be moved letoch gufam or letoch mekomam. So let's say that you had a fan and it was turned on with a Shabbos clock, and so as long as it was turned off for the period of time of Ben Mashot, and it's set to go on, let's say mid-noon when it's really hot outside, then that way we are allowed to move it so that it can blow on us more efficiently. So that's just mentioning that. So today being Friday, I would like to suggest that when it says in the parsha that you should go to the shofet or to the Beit Din. When you have a question, it says ben dam ledam, ben din ledin, ben nega lenega. So I think it was the Gra who said that those three categories, blood, blemishes, specifically tarat and stuff like that, and din ledin are the three categories that we can be explained actually in 6 words: mutar, asur, tameh, tahor, and chayav or patur. So mutar and asur means it is permissible or forbidden. Chayav and patur means you owe money or you don't, or you owe a sacrifice or you don't. And nega tameh tahor, pure or impure, again ritually impure. So that's an amazing idea to just simplify it like that. And if the judges today had to look at the general laws, then we could do without all the details. But of course, for a proper system to work, and especially a country. And even the goyim are commanded to have dinim. That's one of the 7 Noachide laws, the only positive commandment. So we have to go to the judge or to the rabbi or to the Beit Din to find out what is the status of this. So Beit Din is not open on Shabbos, but certain things can be asked even without a Beit Din, just to go to your local rabbi, specifically about Tamei and Tahor and Mutar and Asur. So I'll just finish with one little story. In Yeshivat, a Yeshiva Chadash, literally the new settlement, which was opened in Tel Aviv more than 80 years ago, so even before the State of Israel. So during the time of what we call the Tzena, the recession, where people had food stamps, just like in communist countries, the cook came to the Rosh Yeshiva of Kolodetsky and said to him that a cat jumped into the pot of the chunt, and so he wanted to know if it's what's called batel b'shishim, annulled by the fact that there's more than 60 times the volume of the cat in this gigantic pot for the whole yeshiva. And Rav Kolodetsky answered, I think very wisely, that he first, before answering, he asked the cook, "Would you feed it to your own family?" And the cook said no. So he said, these students are like my sons, and so I do not want you to change that. And so even though it's technically kosher because it's less than a 60th, still it's not appropriate for them to have cat meat even in the cholent. So a very sad story for the cat, but a very good story for us to understand what it means to ask a rabbi and to think a little bit out of the box and to rule slightly differently than what is just written in the books. So that's why we need the personal attachment or connection to the person, to the rabbi or to the Beit Din, to ask them a question and not just rely on what we read online or in a book. So stop here and we'll open up for questions.